Over the past few years, former pro ATV racer and CT Racing Engines owner Alan Knowles has built a number of side-by-side projects for us. His builds are typically in line with what most people are looking for when improving their side-by-side. Improve the machine's safety, comfort, and style, while covering more ground with enhanced speed and reliability. CT's latest project for us is on the turbocharged RZR XP 4 Dynamix Edition, with nearly all of the performance upgrades added, having a similar benefit on any RZR XP model.
Hey, I'm Alan Knowles from CT Racing, out here with UTV On Demand. I'm gonna give you the rundown on this Polaris Dynamix Edition. It's the 4-door. It's what we use for a destination car. We're always going somewhere. I got my cheat sheet here, so you'll see me looking at that and making sure I cover everything. I want to give you the rundown on everything. I'm going to kind of start with the stuff that I think is most important on a car. When I start with a car, again, it's for destination, but I do drive like an idiot, so I'm going to go fast, take chances, and got my wife with me, so I don't want to be getting hurt. So I'll start with the cage. This is a TPS, the Pro Shop Fabrication, TPS Fabrication. John Berg, great guy, been in the industry for a while. He does a lot, it's kind of a custom cage. He goes over all the details with you, so you can, I didn't want a lot of stuff clamped on the cage. So he puts bungs in for mirrors, lights, whatever you want to do, it's all welded on, so you got less stuff clamped on, coming loose and stuff like that. So if you kind of map out what you're going to do, get the product first you're going to put around it, you can work with John there at TPS, and he builds just a nice cage for a reasonable price. And one of the things that he pushed on for me, it's the first cage I've had that's kind of a shorty in the back, and I do like it a lot. I've always had cages go up over the back of the car, but it just makes the car shorter, fits the trailer better, and it's lighter in the back end, and that's important to me. So they also did the front bumper. I like the looks of the front bumper. It's got a bit of a mini skid on it. So if you like that, give TPS Fabrication a shout and order up some of their stuff and work with them and get a nice product. I like a low cage. It fits in the trailer better. There's a lot of advantages to it. And he also is real good on the sight line for it. So some cages are too low, too far forward. I can't see crap, especially if I go in the dunes. So give those guys a shot and go. One of the other things that I bolted on this car, it's from Mod Quad. They build a lot of nice billet parts. So go to their website, check it out. It's available from most dealerships. This car, I put the Mod Quad rear view mirror on it. I like it. John at TPS Off-Road made a bolt in place for it, so it bolts on. There's no stuff hanging all over to clamp it. It's easily adjustable, and it's a really solid, nice mirror. So look up Mod Quad. They've got other parts that you might be clamping on, and nice mirror, works good, see as good as I can see out the back of things. We spend a lot of time in the cars. We'll go out there for 150 to 200 miles in a day is not too much for my wife and I. We do, like I said, it's destination. We're going to go somewhere. We like to see stuff, and we rip and do it. So I want to be comfortable in the car. Always get good seats. I go with the suspension seats. They just give me a better ride during the day. Suspension seats means it has some strapping stuff at the bottom, so it sucks it up, as opposed to like you'll see the NASCAR guys. They got aluminum seats with a little bit of padding on it, and you can get those. A lot of race guys go to a non-suspension seat. But my old body can't handle it. So this car's got Dragonfire. It's the first time I've used Dragonfire. Really like them. They fit well. I like their pass-throughs. And then Dragonfire also supplied the harnesses. I'm real big on harnesses. First thing I do to a car is put in a full set of harnesses. I want to stay in the car. I want my passengers to stay in the car if anything goes wrong. And at the speed we do, things can go wrong and they can fall over. It's why we like it. We go fast enough where we get that thrill, like riding a dirt bike. These are a 4-point harness, and they're a 2-inch. 2-inch, I've always used the 3-inch harnesses. The 2 inches are more comfortable on my shoulders. So you might consider going 2-inch instead of 3-inch if you're picking up some harnesses. And again, Dragonfire is the company to go to. They're available about anywhere. Any shop can order Dragonfire. They have a great product line. So have a look at those seats, and they've got a lot of color choices. They're kind of a semi-production seat. They're not going to custom build them for you, but they're a very nice, very comfortable seat. Next on safety issues, I've got the Dirt Specialties doors. I like to go to a full door. We've got dogs that ride with us. My Australian Shepherds, you can't leave them behind. They'll sneak into the car if they think the car's going somewhere. So we run a full door so nobody's coming out the bottom and nothing's coming in, no rocks or branches coming in and stabbing me. So I always convert to a full door on my builds. And the Dirt Specialties doors. Dirt Specialties was a morph from the fabricator, came out of Bling Star, and he's taken over and built a really nice product. I like the doors. They close nice, open nice. So what else do you need from a door? They're relatively inexpensively priced for a full door. I mean, you can buy the skins. I've done that before too, but these are great doors. So look at Dirt Specialties, and that'll take care of the doors. That's most of the safety stuff in the build. You know, I just want a safe, tough car. We went with a really nice skid. You know, we go through rocks and tears the bottom off the car. Factory UTV, go to their website. I'm running their thick, full skid. And if you look at the skid, some of the videos we're gonna show you, you'll see they cover the whole bottom of the car, this thick plastic, whatever it is, and it's tough, and it actually wraps up around the edge of the car. So like a rock slider does, it's got that kind of built in. I like that a lot. So it's a go-to deal. You don't have to be nervous about getting through some rocks. I'm not a big rock crawler, but some of the trails I get on, you're just gonna slide through stuff, and you want that kind of protection. Tires and wheels. I've been using GBCs. This is a new GBC tire I have on this car. It's Canati, which is based off the other tires I've used, but it's called the TerraMaster. And they call it directional kind of. It has two sides. You can put like for soft stuff, a big cleat on the outside. And then if you're riding more hard pack, you flip the tire around. You have to actually take the tire off the wheel and flip it. So what I've come up with for me, I run the hard setting on the back and I run the soft on the front. Just steers better because you'll kind of push the front end otherwise. So it's a great tire. And again, it has that same little bit of a soft, flexy sidewall, and that's what makes them hook up good. I really like them. I get back in a car that has stock tires and I'm over it pretty fast. So have a look at these tires. I've got them clamped on OMF beadlock wheels. I'm a big fan of beadlocks. If the upsides to beadlocks are, if you do get a flat and you can't fix it for some reason or you gotta go, you can go. It might ruin the tire, but I've gone over 60 miles on a flat and didn't even ruin the beadlock. So that's a big deal to me. I always carry the stuff to deal with a flat if you can. And I carry a spare as well, but things could go wrong, and it's just nice to have a beadlock. They don't cost that much. They look great. This OMF beadlock is a billet center. It's their top of the line wheel, and the billet center can come off. In fact, if you these wheels here, if I might change to my next car, I can just order a different ring because I'm going to go to a different car and different color, and you can change the color combination by bolting parts on. So that's a pretty cool setup. So look over at OMF and go with their stuff. A big part of our destination driving is communication. One, my wife and I talk back and forth, so we run a rugged radio, and that way we can chit-chat as we go. And she can do some co-driving because I get lost. I don't pay attention. I'm just driving fast. And she's like, oh, you missed that turn. And so she keeps me straightened out, but also being able to communicate with the cars around us. If you have a radio so you can talk back car to car, it allows you to have big separation and not worry about it. That way they're not driving the dust and getting killed all day. So really think about getting a radio for you, your cronies. All of us in our groups have radio communication. And we can get spread out. It could be a half a mile back to a car if it's dusty. We don't care. And then you say, hey, right at the Y, and you make a right, and you keep hauling ass. You don't have to wait every time you come up to some little intersection. And then, of course, if somebody has a problem, you can get right to them. We've been out with guys with no radios. We spent an hour looking for a knucklehead, and then he ended up throwing a belt and then driving back somewhere else where we couldn't find him and had to go back to camp and ruin the whole trip. So Rugged Radios has some awesome setups. There's two parts to it. There's the comm part that goes underneath it. And the comm part's pretty neat because you can plug in, if you want to, your phone or whatever for tunes, and you can listen to tunes and stuff as you go. And then, of course, you got the communication. So Rugged Radios, go to their website, good stuff. We drive at night. I like to drive at night. So we went with PLX Lighting. They offer a big selection of lighting. It's PLX is under the umbrella of Pilot Automotive, and that stuff is available everywhere. It's really reasonable price stuff. We've been really happy with it. And what I like from the whole group, they had the right size light, see it up top. They also had some nice like ambers. Again, I'm a big, if you watch my videos, I really like to see a rear facing amber on the car. The reason for an amber rear is it cuts the dust, cuts through the dust so somebody can see you. You lock it up and they're coming, and it gives them a better shot. They've also got, you'll see a small light in the front of my car, and it's got two elements in it. It's got a white light and an amber. The front light, there's a couple things I do with it. I aim it down, because when I go off an edge at night, I can't see down, and the lighting I have up top, it lights up the world, but that isn't gonna help you going down. So when you run a front light, get that thing aimed down, you can see over the edge, and then again, it's got the white and the amber. PLX brand had a lot of other cool stuff that I've got in this car. They have a real nice array of switches, and they also have even a charging port so you can charge your cell phone while you're driving. I've got that mounted between the seats. You guys aren't going to believe this. It might help you find them. If you're out at night, I got a Sasquatch switch. The Sasquatch light comes on, you're going to find Sasquatch. It's going to scare you. So it's available. You might want to get one in case Sasquatch is in your hood. Track them down. Next, when it comes to toughness, I have a big problem with bending lower A-arms, and it's not the fault of the car, it's the way that I drive. I'm an old quad guy, so when I see a rock, I don't want to center on it. I instantly move over because a quad you center, you hit the skid plate and you're over the bars. I'm getting away from that. The more time, I got thousands and thousands of miles, I'm getting better at it, but I've bent a lot of right front A-arms. I always go with the Teixeira stuff, and it does give you more ground clearance against all the rocks. He builds really tough product. We've had 0 failures with thousands of miles in these cars, over lots of different cars. And he just gives you that ground clearance. So basically the A-arm is flat with the frame. If you look at the car, you don't see the arms going down like this. They come out, drop over the edge, and it gives you just way more ground clearance. And it's a lot tougher product than the factory stuff. It's chrome moly. It's, you know, the way that it's welded, everything about it's better. And the same with the radius rods. He builds a nice, it is the best ground clearance radius rod on the market. There's lots of even copies of his now. I'm seeing lots of guys that try to do the tubing ones. I've explained this before. The tubing ones, when they put a gusset in, every time I've run one of those on cars, I flatten them. They start straightening out and the wheels go wacky. So stay away from those. Look at the Teixeira stuff. It's reasonably priced, highest quality you can get. It's tough stuff. His ball joints are from Frapp, from Italy. They're really tough ball joints, and they're backwards from Polaris. They can't pull through, where Polaris is bolted and that's it, and they technically can pull through. So it's actually a tougher, better ball joint. He built some nice safety harness bezel plates to go around it, and then those hold some radio jack mounts. So instead of having to fish your radio wire all through the radio and then from the car to the radio and all the way back up and feed it to your helmet, you could take just a short cord that plugs into his bezel plate between the driver and co-driver, and also in the back seat, and you just plug in a short radio cord to go to your helmet. It's a lot nicer cleanup. I really like that. You're not stretching stuff all over, and it's just a clean setup, and then you can unplug it to wash it. It's all out of there. You put a little cap over it. Not a lot of money, and they're just really clean. We did a lot of tuning this year, probably more than I've done in years in the car. We wanted to get some whips on the thing. I went with 6-stick. They build a really nice whip. It's tough. I like the way they unplug, plug in. They got lots of color combinations. It's nice folks that have it. They're in Northern California. You can call them. The guy's just switched on and can really, get you set up in the right product. And again, he's got several options. But the nice thing about having the lighted whips is, you can get them color corrected, cosmetically correct. He's got them as switch colors. It's nice. When you start out at night and you got a group of cars, you can identify the car by the whip setup when they're way out ahead of you. And that's kind of a nice feature. So you know who's up there, who's leading, that you're following the leader, or he's up there. And the one thing that I have in the cars I've had on all my recent builds is the S&B particle separator. I call that a no-brainer. You got to have it. It makes the motor last. It's hurting my pocket that you're not tearing up your motor. I mean, I kind of want to tell you to take the air filter off and not run one so your motor gets trashed, and then you send me all your money. That's best for me, but not everybody thinks I'll like that. If you want a motor to last, these are a good generation motor. Polaris motors, whenever I get them to shop, it's always self-inflicted wounds. People not servicing them, not changing the oil, not keeping the air filter clean enough. They think because it has a steering wheel that it's a car, so you just drive it, every 5,000 miles, you're going to change the filter. It ain't going to be around for 5,000 miles. This is a dirt bike as far as it goes. It's an off-road vehicle. You're in a really hostile environment. Those tires are swirling around, and it sends the dust right to where the pickup is. Into the filter it goes, and then if you neglect it, it's done. You go drive it. You can check me on this. You drive your car 300 miles, that filter's sacked. Just done. That's the most. 200 miles is what I want to go. 300 miles the most, and it's dirty. Get a particle separator. They are so efficient, they cost no horsepower whatsoever, and you'll run 300 miles and you'll see no dirt. I've had guys go 700 miles. They did the whole Arizona Peace Trail. Nice trail to look that up, Arizona Peace Trail. Nice loop of the state, couple night stays in different places, different towns. Anyhow, did the whole loop, came back looked like we just changed this filter. There was no dirt in it with a bunch of cars. That's almost impossible. The thing works really good. I've got lots of mileage in this. I keep popping it off, want to replace the filter, no need. So go with the particle separator. We've got a bunch of stuff from DynoJet. I'm going to show you. I brought some props here for you to look at, because this stuff's way back in there and you can't really see it. So I want you to see what we got on there and why we have it. The most important thing that I think that you should get from DynoJet for any of the turbo cars, actually it works on all the cars for several reasons, is the Power Vision. The Power Vision is a reflash. It's a unit that you get, you plug it in, and it lets you reflash it, and there's several options of what your car has. If it's all stock, you reflash it for that. If it's got a pipe, they've got several options. And if you got a bunch of mods, you can get hold of DynoJet, and they'll help you with a different map for it. But the reason you want to go to Power Vision, as long as you don't live in California, because as you know, California is responsible for messing up the world when it comes to performance, and since I live in California, I guess that makes me responsible for all your problems. With the California regulations to pass CARB, all these motorcycles, cars, off-road vehicles, they really have to burn clean, really regulated back. To pass the CARB, they're turning them way back on how lean they are, which makes them run hot. If you're out of California, you can buy this DynoJet setup, plug it in. It's going to feed it more boost, more fuel, more performance, run a whole bunch better. In fact, it runs so much better, it blows through the clutches. So what I got here on the dash, on the front of the car, is the DynoJet clutch. There's lots of clutches available. I like this one a lot. It's very adjustable. It's got a cheat sheet in it that kind of tells you what you have in your car, what you're going to need for clutch weighting. It comes with the springs so that the stall speed, everything else is corrected, and how hard it hangs on the belt. I like these just because they're so tunable. They've got these magnets. What you're seeing right here, this is a stack of magnets. And it'll tell you how many to put in each hole. The big magnets go there. You may need the small magnets either there or there. And by how the car responds when you test drive it is how much weight it needs wear. You're looking for the magic number on most cars, 82, 83, maybe with a little bit of mod, 400 RPMs. So what you do, you go on some asphalt stretch somewhere, or sand if you're on paddle tires, and you mat it. You just put it on the floor and you watch your tack. And if it comes up too high initially, maybe goes to 8,500 for the first up to 25 miles an hour, then it catches up and comes back down. It's telling you you'd want to weight it on the inside of the clutch, add a little bit of weight. Or if it's too low, you take some weight off. I mean, it tells you the directions, but you just want to run through it, because ultimately that's the nice thing about a torque converted car on CVT, is you should be able to stay at the perfect RPM, which is peak horsepower for the motor. And that clutch system allows you to do it. And if you put power to it, and again, the Power Vision is going to get you at least 20 horsepower. That's pretty cheap, 20 horsepower. Plus, turns the fan on sooner, holds it on longer, has all kinds of other parameters, lets you 2-foot drive. You can actually hit the brake and get on the gas without a delay. So there's a whole bunch of reasons for that, but you will overpower the clutches, so you'll need to go to a clutch weighting system. And I really like DynoJets. It's simple, good directions. I put them on. I almost never have to go back and readjust them off just their sheet. But you have the flexibility to do that, or if you change the car some more. The other thing I want to show you from DynoJet that we have in the car is their boost tube. It's hard to see in the car, so I thought I'd just set it up front here where you get to see what it's all about. The factory boost tubes are prone to have some failure. We've seen it. This is a way tougher unit. And then the tube itself is larger diameter, stays larger under boost. And especially when you turn the power up a little bit like we did with this car on the reflash and retuning, it's definitely something to add to the car. Comes with a K&N filter to keep stuff out of it, dirt and stuff out of the turbo, which is never good. So it's a nice add-on you can get. They're not a lot of money. Clamp that on and floor it. Drive it as hard as you can, drive it like you stole it.
Whether it's sitting on the trailer or rolling down the trail, the look of this RZR XP4 Dynamix Edition certainly garners a lot more attention than the stock machine. The interior and safety upgrades make you feel more comfortable and confident sitting in the cockpit. Add in the right mix of parts to enhance durability and performance. Anxieties go way down, and the fun factor goes way up when pushing the edge of performance that's definitely been enhanced in this RZR.